I played a lot of RuneScape as a kid, so I'm very well versed in scams, and it really shattered my trust in people and taught me early on that you can't always put your faith in strangers to tell the truth. Maybe they won't actually double your money. And I think that this led to me being better at identifying scams in real life, but it doesn't make me immune to them either. When I was a freshman in college, I fell for the oldest trick in the book, a timeless classic prank: fake being homeless with a sign and beg for money on the streets. A scam that has stood the test of time. It's people that just panhandle on the street pretending to be homeless and try and get money that way. It's actually very lucrative. Sometimes people that do this make anywhere from 60 to 100 grand a year off of this shit. It's fucking despicable. The reason I'm bringing this up is because on Reddit this week, a video went viral, and it's from 2017. It's an older video, but it's a video of a woman in Richmond who pretended to be homeless and was exposed for it. She even eventually got arrested, but I'll get to that towards the end of the video. But I wanted to go over this video because I think it's not only a very entertaining video with the way she responds to being confronted, but also a bit eye-opening as to the depths people will sink to get a quick buck. This scam in particular has always greased my ass. It infuriates me. People that just take advantage of others' willingness to help, their good nature, it's just so fucked up. But I'll quickly tell my story since I was a victim of this scam when I was younger. I don't know if I've ever told it, I'm sure I have at some point, but when I was a freshman in college for the first semester, I used to commute to university, and I always took the same route, just like a little NPC that never deviates from the schedule. I would always go down one road in particular that had a guy standing at the corner of one of its major intersections. This guy, he looked disheveled, he had a curly white beard, it looked like fucking jolly old Saint Nick, Santa Claus had fallen on rough times, and I'd always see him talking to people, and he was always smiling. He just seemed like a really nice guy, and he had a sign that had every fucking sad tale you could imagine. I'm a homeless veteran, my dog ran away, my wife divorced me and took the kids, I broke my leg in a bowling accident, and I have lung trouble from the time I spent as a coal miner. Any money you can spare is very much appreciated. God bless. It sounded like a fucking country song, and it was heartbreaking to read. So every day, Monday through Friday, I'd give him $20, sometimes $40 if I had a little extra, and I did that for about a month, or a month and a half maybe. But then I got hit with a shocking plot twist straight out of a Darman video. I swear to God, it would have been less painful to find out I was adopted. One time when I gave him money, the last day I gave him money, I really wish I could remember what he said verbatim, but he hit me with something to the effect of, "Really appreciate all that you've given me. My apartment over in this area isn't super cheap, so I appreciate it because rent's been going up." I wish I could remember exactly what he said though, but those were the cliff notes. That was the main bit of lore that he dropped there. That he had an apartment in that area, it was expensive, and it looked like it was going up, so me giving him that money for the last month and a half was a little helpful. And that's when the realization hit. My universe melted around me, and it sunk in, the reality. This guy had used me like a fucking fleshlight. This guy wasn't homeless at all. He was a fraud, a faker, a goddamn drama club thespian leader here with his acting performance on the side of the street for the last month and a half. That area he would stand in was an extremely expensive area of Tampa. So to have an apartment in that area, he was already making a lot of money. And I was just another piggy bank for him to dip his little cock into. I was furious. But I couldn't confront him about it, obviously, so instead I just said, "Yeah, no worries," drove off, and then started taking a different route to university. One that was an extra 15 minutes out of the way, but just one where I knew I'd never have to see him again. I was beyond mad. I went so far above mad, I just wrapped around all the way to sad and upset. Like, I used to take extra money out of the bank just to make sure I had enough cash in my wallet to give him $20 Monday through Friday. This dude became like a daily part of like my routine, like to make sure that I was able to, you know, help him out a little bit. I just wanted to see him succeed, you know, do something good for someone that fell on hard times, only to find out it was all a lie. I don't know if he meant to do that, like maybe he felt guilty from all the money I'd given him, so he decided to drop that little nugget of wisdom, letting me know that he wasn't actually homeless, or what that was about. Maybe he slipped up, I couldn't tell you. But man, did it teach me a very hard lesson. I know that was a long story, and I still haven't even played the video of the fake homeless woman here, but I just needed to let you all know that this shit makes me fucking mad. There's no audio in the beginning of the video here, probably because it's just them puking from disgust at what this woman's doing. So it's just showing that she's going car to car, asking for money, and can even be very aggressive with the way she panhandles apparently. And then they eventually follow her all the way to her car, which is parked nearby. She's not actually homeless, she has a very modern car. This video is from 2017, so her 2014 vehicle here is a very modern, pretty expensive car. So obviously, she's not actually on hard times. She shouldn't be begging for money. I shouldn't need to explain that to anyone. I don't think there's anyone out there that'd be like, well, Charlie, it's a legitimate profession, taking advantage of people's willingness to help someone in need. You know, this is her job. This is her 9-to-5 work, begging for money under the false notion that she's homeless and needs it, when clearly she doesn't. So, just a whole lot of bullshit, just a slimy, pathetic worm here. And this is 2014, so I'm assuming by now she's moved on to doing OnlyFans, probably to moderate to no success there would be my guess, or she might be back on the streets scamming. There's no telling for sure, but she gets confronted here by these two men that are filming, and then her immediate response is to once again just try and play the victim, so she walks over to the local McDonald's to try and get them involved. I always love this immediate response. I'm calling the cops. Yeah, you've caught me on film scamming and doing something illegal. You can't panhandle like this. It's a crime. But I'm gonna call the cops on you because you're making me uncomfortable with your video exposing me. In fact, you're hurting my feelings. The delusion is just always so fascinating to me. Like, what could she possibly think would have happened if the cops showed up? They were gonna take her side? Well, I mean, gentlemen, you are filming her in public. You're going to jail. It's a capital offense. Ma'am, please go back out there and keep scamming. Like, she had to have, at least for a brief second, had some neurons fire to tell her that it's a bad idea. Like, I'm breaking the law? Why would I call the cops on myself? It's a big fucking self-report. You know, maybe I should just get in my car and leave. But for some reason, that line of thinking doesn't compute with her. So instead, she tries to, like, get the police involved and McDonald's involved. God, I love the response from the employee here. Like, I don't know. What are you talking? I don't know why they're filming you. Who are you? Fucking crazy lady, a lunatic? You escaped from Arkham Asylum? Why are you asking me? Christ, I don't know what's going on here. Why are you making me open this window here and then bombard me with, like, an interrogation? I don't know what the fuck is happening. You know, like, I don't know what the scammer could have possibly expected here. Knock on the window, Ronald McDonald answers and, like, comes outside to save the day. Like, hey, stop filming her right now, gentlemen. In my establishment, not at Mickey D's.
Thank you, we got everything we need.
That's illegal to do that.
Come here.
That's exactly right. Ma'am, I don't know what's going on. I just work here. Like, she's just doing her job. She's not going to take your side. She doesn't know what the situation is. I don't know why you think she would all of a sudden try and, like, defend you or your honor or whatever. I don't know why you're asking her these questions anyway, like you're trying to report something to the principal of a middle school. It's just ridiculous. I feel so bad for the employee in this situation. That's got to be so uncomfortable. Just doing your job and then all of a sudden you get caught off guard by a completely unhinged, deranged goober. I'm gonna try and be a little armchair psychologist for a moment. Her continuously asking the employee, like, what is this guy saying? It must be her defense mechanism, like her cope of like, oh, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. Do you hear this? Do you hear these crazy people? Do you hear what they're saying? Me taking money from people? Like, what is that, huh? Do you know what they're saying? She just strikes me as someone that takes no responsibility for her own actions and views herself like an angel, a saint that never does anything wrong. She's perfect and morally beautiful. Nothing she's done is indefensible or bad. So when she's challenged on this belief of herself, she just completely crumbles and tries to, like, get other people in there like, no, tell me I'm good, tell me I'm right.
You're begging for money.
What do you want?
You're begging money. Why are you?
A bold strategy, but unfortunately a swing and a miss. Her sign says she's homeless. So her whole thing of, no, I'm here because of a disability, is immediately contradicted by her own fucking sign. Also, I will say, she has great fashion sense. She's wearing a shirt that says, I train while you sleep. So checkmate, nerds. While we're all snoozing and catching our embarrassing wet dreams, she's out there on that grind, the Sigma grind, scamming. What a hero. She's like a random encounter in an MMO right now. She just keeps going up to anybody around the area like, excuse me, these people are saying that I'm not a good person. Can you believe that? Isn't that ridiculous? And then she even tries to say that she can't get in her car and leave, that they're blocking her. But they're not. She can get in her car and leave at any point, and at the end of the video she does. Spoiler alert. They weren't blocking her at all. They were just following her around, insulting her, and rightfully calling her out on this bullshit. This fucking imbecile even tries to flag down a customer that's just leaving the restaurant after getting their meal to try and, like, talk to them and get them involved in all of this. It's so weird. And she constantly keeps mentioning that someone's going to kill them, that what they're doing is going to get them killed, which is, of course, pretty fucked up. But at least this story has a happy ending because she got arrested shortly after this video went viral in 2017. She was arrested on 3 counts of throwing a missile at a moving vehicle, a charge I didn't even know existed. That sounds like some supervillain shit. How is she throwing a missile? That's like something Senator Armstrong would do in Metal Gear Rising. But then as I read more, it's because she would like throw Gatorade bottles at people or something, so it's pretty wild. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this story a little bit since it's one I'm very passionate about, and that's about it. So yeah, I saw a body cam video today that had such a weird story to it that I just found myself on the edge of my seat. And it's not because it was some kind of high-octane pursuit or anything. It wasn't like Dukes of Hazzard style or, you know, them chasing someone who's ramping their car off of a parked tow truck as like rockets fly out of the top or anything. It wasn't exactly a spectacle. In fact, on paper, it's probably one of the most boring things you could imagine for a body cam video. They pull over a man on his bike because he didn't have a rear reflector. Like, that's not exactly like, you know, jaw on the floor, like biting at your fingernails type action or anything. That's about as exciting as trying to arrest someone for forgetting their library card, right? But this was just the first domino to fall that led to a crazy story that ultimately concludes with everyone learning that the guy on the bike is actually a fugitive who's been on the run for almost 30 years, a convicted rapist who escaped and fell off the grid, and now they've found him because of his bike not having a rear reflector.
You gotta have a rear reflector on your bike, my man, if you're gonna ride on the roadway. So, what's up?
Oh, okay.
So, and then if you're gonna ride at night, you need a front light. I'm sure you know that,
Yeah.
but you got an ID on you real quick just so I can say a stop to talk with you?
With me.
Okay. Can I get your,
Greg Stallings.
Greg Stallings, is your name?
Gregory.
Okay.
Introducing the man formerly known as Gregory Stallings. We'll soon learn that this is just an alias, an Xbox Live gamer tag. Now, it's not hard to fake a name, anyone can do that. I could go around calling myself Jerichomo Double Chin, but I don't have an ID to prove it, though if you're like confident enough with what you're saying, a lot of people will just believe you. So, he'd been able to get by going by Gregory Stallings and even had a social security number to give the officer.
I think I wrote something down wrong. What's your full social? Perfect. Yep, hang tight for me. Gregory, I'm still not getting that back. Are you sure that's right?
Pretty sure. I've been a long time since I had to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the social didn't turn up anything either. It's very easy to make up numbers. You can make up a social as well just by spouting some random fucking numbers. However, you'll soon learn that he's not just making up information. It's actually much deeper than that.
If you're riding your bike and someone rear ends you,
Oh, yeah.
and then they can kind of
They
point the
didn't
blame
see no
because
sticker.
the reflector.
Yeah.
And I hate that because it's like, no, it's just,
I understand that.
copy. Can we try a soch? And I'm also with our traffic unit, so I do all our accident investigations.
Okay.
So whenever bikes are involved, it almost always is way worse than.
Yes, it usually hits you from behind.
Yep.
Now, when I first saw the headline to this story, I wondered, how common is it for officers to even bother pulling over someone on a bike for something as simple as this? To me, that just sounded like fishing for an arrest to meet like a quota or something where you get like a nice gold star for an additional arrest on something small. Because it sounds very simple, right? It just sounds like something they wouldn't even take the time out of their day to do. It'd be like if the cops started chasing you down and fucking pit maneuvered you on the way to the grocery store, guns blazing, "Get the fuck out of the car! We saw that you put the Hatsune Miku box in the garbage instead of the recycling. You're out of line!" You know, just something like really simple. But when the officer explains it, it makes a lot more sense. So he explains that he doesn't arrest people for this. He just pulls them aside, lets them know, like, hey, you should have the rear reflector on because if a car hits you, they could point the blame on you for not having it. It's just safer if you do have it. And he just explains that it's really just him letting them know and nothing beyond that. But he still has to go through standard protocol of confirming that the person is who they say they are, which I think makes total sense.
I haven't had a driver's license in years. I haven't.
Copy. Can you try running him through Florida? How long have you been living up here then? Just think of what state. I can get you through any state even if it's really old, so I know it's been a while.
Yeah,
Just try to
long
think.
time.
Yeah, try to think for me.
Sorry, I can't help you, dude. I'm sorry.
Where else have you lived? Have you ever had any other run-ins with any law enforcement for us? No?
They've reached a standstill here, so he has no identification, and the information he's providing isn't turning up any results. They then try and run him through Florida, because he had made a mention of Florida. I feel like you could also run anyone by Florida, and you'll find something fucking crazy. You'll probably find, like, Gregory Stallings was actually, like, a Florida conquistador who drank from the fountain of youth and now currently resides at Clearwater, right next to the Scientology church or something. Like, I thought once he said Florida, his goose was cooked, they'd find something, but they didn't. So now they're still just trying to figure out, okay, how can we confirm that you are who you say you are? And it's not really getting anywhere. He also then told them a story about how he got hit by a car, so his memory's a little foggy.
I'm just going to take your word for it, okay?
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I don't shake hands, sorry.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. Drive safe.
The officer eventually just says, you know what, fuck it, we'll take you at your word for it, and he offers a handshake, which is immediately declined. I honestly, when he said I don't shake hands, I honestly thought the officer might go with like a, but I do high five, and he goes like, down low, too slow, walks away, puts on his fucking shades or something. So, even though Gregory Stallings has successfully de-aggroed the cop here, he's now outside of the dialogue trees, the officer still wants to get to the bottom of this because it is very odd that none of the information he provided turned up any results.
So what we're going to do for now while I keep investigating this is I'm going to take a picture of you and send it to our guy who has facial rec. So you pull your hat off and your glasses off. So, and both the socials you gave me come back to other people. One of them's deceased, the other one's a lady, so I don't think either of those are you.
No.
We have technology, so he's using facial recognition now to try and figure out who this John Doe is. So he takes a picture of him, gets him to pose like it's for some kind of fucking high school yearbook photo, sends it to the facial rec team, and then he's also informing the man that actually the information he provided with the socials goes to different people. One of them's dead and the other one is a woman. So now things are getting even more suspicious. He does keep reiterating that he doesn't want to arrest this guy, but he just needs to confirm his identity, so just do his best to remember the accurate information so they can both get on with their day.
You don't think you got warrants or anything, do you?
As far as I know, I don't.
Okay. Well, have you committed any crimes?
And
Well, besides...
no.
Yeah?
No. I'm not out trying to outrun the cops on my bike.
Okay. All right, brother. Time to be honest with me, okay? So the info you give me comes back to a dead guy. Gregory Stallings is dead.
And the associate, right?
And the Soch, yeah.
That he gave?
Yeah.
2-6.
So who are you? You're Gregory, you're just not dead?
I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
They're getting pretty confident that something smells fishy here. There's something awry, so they confront him saying, look, Gregory Stallings is dead. Imagine if that guy was just in like, dead? He just starts profusely crying, no! How did this happen? And then all of a sudden he just starts like fading away like a Thanos snap or something. He was actually just like a spirit that was tethered to this world, didn't know that he died. But anyway, regardless, they're telling him like, look, this is fucked up now. We know that there's something definitely afoot. What's going on? Just tell us the real information here. But he's sticking to his guns, saying that, no, he is Gregory Stallings, and it might just be a misunderstanding because he's been kind of off the grid for so long.
Could it just because I haven't been on anything for a long, long time?
They don't just declare people deceased because they haven't heard from them in a little bit.
Okay, I'm just...
Did anyone come back with the facial rec or nobody?
No, no hits.
No hits?
No hits. It said 2000 was the year of the death. Did you go missing in that year? Did you... Someone report you missing and then they just declare you...
I don't talk to my people in a long, 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 long time.
Not even Big Brother was able to nail him. Facial recognition came up nothing, empty-handed. So they're back in the field with nothing but their words to fight this battle and figure out who the fuck is this mystery man here. They then start speculating maybe it's a big misunderstanding and he perhaps went missing in the year 2000 when Gregory Stallings was pronounced deceased. Like maybe this is a fucking Hey Arnold Dino Spumoni moment where he faked his own death and he's still just out here. So they ask him, did you go missing? And he's like, well, no, I haven't talked to anyone in a really long time.
During the officer's phone call, he turns off his body cam, and it cuts back into them, somehow discovering the fact that he is a convicted rapist on the run for the last 30 years.
I get it, brother. I mean, I see both of it, and I understand it. Yo, none of us are mad at you. I'm just baffled that law enforcement has let you go for 30 years and not push the issue.
They cut out the part where they discover the truth. Like, that is literally removing the climax of this whole situation. It'd be like watching a Sherlock Holmes film and they take out the part where they piece everything together to get the conclusion. That's so fucking stupid. What? So apparently, they somehow were able to figure out that this guy is not Gregory Stallings. Instead, he's this convicted rapist from the 80s who escaped in 1995 and has been on the run ever since. That's like a crazy amount of like breadcrumbs to put together, and they don't tell you exactly how that came about. That's fucked up. Like, I've said this for a long time. I think it is so fucking dumb that officers can willy-nilly turn on and off their body cam whenever they want. That, to me, defeats, like, the whole purpose of the body cam if you can just turn it off at will. You read about that all the time in cases of, like, really fucking awful situations, and then mysteriously the body cam was turned off, or the body cam just happened to be turned off at that point. Like, it's so dumb. There should be protocol in place to prevent that from happening.
But then eventually VC showed up. VC said, hey man, cut the shit. Tell us your real name. He just told him his real name. I did that like 6 times.
This is the only information I could find about how they got to the bottom of it. So VC showed up, just said, cut the shit, and the guy just forked over all the information, I guess. Just vomited out all of the truth. So maybe it wasn't like a really elaborate investigation that led to them discovering this. I think it was just this guy showed up looking all hard-boiled and shit and just pressed him saying, like, we know you're lying, just tell us your real name and everything. And then the guy did.
Can you go to the vape shop and buy me a pack for $4.52?
I am really inclined to do that because you were honest with us. So what kind do you want?
The Crown Menthol 100.
I'm not going to remember that. Crown Menthol 100.
Yeah, just cheapest, asking for the cheapest menthol they got. And a book mattress, too. I don't even have a light. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's old.
I do need a cigarette.
You have a light though?
No. That's why I'm saying tell him to give me a book and mattress.
Okay, alright, just making sure.
Book and matches too.
Book and matches.
They're acting like best pals now. He even sends the officer grocery shopping for him to get cigarettes. I don't understand. He's like, yeah, you know what, I'm inclined to do that because you were honest with us. So he's rewarding him with like a fucking lollipop here, giving him the cigarettes. Maybe that was the deal they made, like, hey, look, pal, we know you're lying, and I'll go get you some cigarettes if you just tell us your real information. He's like, alright, bet, and then did so. It's also so weird how friendly they're being with this guy. They even in sync said book of matches together like some shit out of a buddy cop movie. But he's a convicted rapist. I've seen so many body cam videos where they're being unreasonably aggressive to people that are being cooperative and not rapists. Like, people that are, you know, getting busted on, like, super simple drug charges or something. They're like, you're the scum of the fucking earth. Listen, pal, you're lucky I don't run your fucking head on the pavement right now and curb stomp the shit out of you. And meanwhile, this guy, who's a rapist who escaped from a halfway house 30 years ago, they're like, yes, you want those cigarettes? Yeah, we can do that for you. But anyway, looking deeper into the George Hartleroad case, that's this guy's real name. He is not Greg Stallings. Huge twist. He is George Hartleroad. And he was convicted of rape in 1983. And in 1994, he escaped from a halfway house, and he's been on the run ever since.
They're going to, oh, we got him again. Oh, we caught him, we caught him.
You're not, everything, no, everything you said today has been 100% correct. I can't be mad about any of it, because you've been 100% correct, other than the dead guy's name.
I didn't even know the guy was dead.
Yeah, now you gotta find someone else in the phone.
Yeah, he died like 5 years later. He did not last very long.
He did.
So you better find someone else.
Well, that'd be easy, don't worry.
That'd be easy.
There was a brief moment during this where they weren't sure if they were supposed to arrest him, like if the state would still want him after all of this time. And eventually they concluded that, yeah, the state does still want him. And then they explained that he's going to need to take someone else's identity because the one he was using's been dead for so long. I think they were just joking about that. I don't think they're actually giving him, like, pro tips or anything on how to take someone else's identity. But he says it's easy to do that. So Greg Stallings was a real person. And apparently, George Hartleroad is pretty familiar with how to get that kind of information. Apparently, you can just get that at some homeless shelters. The other officer mentions that he was surprised he didn't just take it from someone's mailbox and piece it together that way. But then George explains that that'd be deeper shit because that's a much harder thing to do, or a more dangerous thing to do. So it turns out he wasn't just pulling names and numbers out of his asshole, he actually did have that information, which probably explains how he'd been able to get by for the last 30 years when needing to provide information for certain things. So it wasn't just an imaginary friend that he made up.
I will jump again as soon as they turn me loose.
You know, every time...
No, guys, they've been up in my ass for 30, 41 years now. Yeah. On a 9-year sentence.
Every time I think I kind of got an idea of what's going on, stuff like this, just like you can buy IDs at homeless shelters, and would never have thought.
He talks about his ass being pumped and then even makes like a quick villain monologue about how he will jump again. Like, you know, now he's going full mask off here. So they've got him, they arrested him, and it looks like he will be facing some punishment for the last 30 or so years after escaping.
I knew they'd want me. Well, I worked in their office at one time, and I'm the one that posted all the flyers in the thing at one time for them.
That's pretty much the end of the encounter. They then, shortly after that, put him into the car, and he just gives that last maniacal laughter, the mwahaha. He hits him with like that classic villain laugh. Like he looks like a wizard, and it seems like something Saruman would have done once the plan started coming together. Like he actually hits them with like an evil laugh at the very end there. So yeah, I saw this earlier today and just wanted to talk about it because it was just so interesting to me. That's really about it. So yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we're amid global panic with the coronavirus still at large, but what if I told you there's a new pandemic sweeping this world, and this one's got a TikTok? I'm talking, of course, about the OK Boomer dancing Bernie girl from Twitter. She's taken over Twitter like Skynet taking over the military in the Terminator franchise, and much like Skynet, she's weaponized it. She has inadvertently turned simps into a weapon. You got men blocking their wives on Twitter so they can simp for her in private. You have brave soldiers fighting for her love on the front lines of every single comment thread ever. It's fucking madness. It's crazy out there. It's true hysteria and quite the phenomenon. She's gone up 120,000 Twitter followers in the last 4 days. You can't log on to Twitter without reading about it or seeing it. It's crazy. Let me go ahead and show you the clip now.
Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer.
I don't know what Kidz Bop album the song is from, but it's quite the jam. Now you'll notice she's wearing a Bernie shirt with a hashtag Bernie thing. I don't like to get political, don't know fuck all about politics, not gonna pretend like I do, but in this case, it wasn't about politics, it's about politics. The Twitter audience only cared about obsessing over the girl, nothing political. I mean, maybe Bernie cared. I mean, maybe Bernie went to her Twitch streams and dropped a fat 50 gift subs. I don't really know there. But on Twitter, they only cared about the girl, not the politics behind it or anything like that. Congratulations to her, though. Her name is Nico. She blew up because of this, so good work for her. I don't know about the song. I mean, the song's kind of fucking weird. It just sounds like Tommy Pickles and the gang getting together to do karaoke. I don't really like the song. But you can't argue with the results. This shit popped off. And like I said, this spawned an actual conflict, a real war that we'll most likely be reading about on Wikipedia in the next 2 or 3 years, where you had the simps that really thought that they could fall in love, that the girl would fall in love with them if they kept trying hard enough to defend her and fight her battles on Twitter, versus the people that didn't like the TikTok dance, people that just don't like TikToks. They went to battle. They fought on multiple Twitter threads across multiple days. It was bloody conflict, ruthless and vicious, until today.
I recently got me and my boyfriend shirts, Bernie shirts.
Did you catch that? I'll play it again.
I recently got me and my boyfriend shirts.
Me and my boyfriend, she said. The queen betrayed the simps. Nay, she outright brought them outside and publicly executed them. She announced she had a boyfriend, and this was when the peace treaty was signed, where both sides said, you know what, we don't have a chance. Let's just move the fuck on. So while this may have ended the majority of the weaponized simping, there were still some remnants of soldiers on Twitter that didn't know the war was over. Kind of like the Japanese holdout soldiers, where they still defended islands and shit for like 60 years after World War II was over because they didn't know. That's kind of what exists on Twitter right now. Of course, as always, there were those really fucking creepy posts claiming that they had the girl's nudes. It was just trolls where they had a completely blank picture that made it seem like the picture wasn't loading. So in all these posts, there were some really desperate, pathetic weirdos that were begging to get the photos, you know, DM, Discord, like this guy here fucking factory resets his phone. I'm surprised he didn't bring it into the Apple store to see if he could help him. It's some really sad shit, but there was a lot of this going on as well. Really, it's been a wild time on Twitter with this simp war that's both started and ended within a week, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention in case you haven't been on Twitter, just to bring you up to speed. And if you haven't been on Twitter, congratulations, that shit's a real swamp, a big old fucking cesspool, but I did find this to be pretty entertaining stuff. That's about it. So yeah. Yesterday I posted a video talking about the dancing OK Boomer girl on Twitter, you know, the one doing the shit on Twitter that started the giant simp war. At the end of the video, talked about how she revealed she had a boyfriend, and that was the end of that. The ceasefire was called and everyone was all good. I couldn't have been more wrong. In fact, this was simply a ruse. The Twitter simp war never stopped. In fact, that was just a fake olive branch leading to a simp ambush. And as embarrassed as I am to say this, I'm just so fucking ashamed of this, I contributed to the Twitter simp war. I fanned the flames of it. But I'll get to that shit in a minute, and it actually makes me sick. I want to talk about what happened with the girl, Nico. At the time of when I posted the video, made it and all that, there was no real aftermath. There wasn't any, like, carnage. There wasn't fucking burned down cities or anything, or, you know, churches turned to ruin. People just moved on. They realized she had a boyfriend, they washed their hands of it, stopped foaming at the mouth like a rabid dog and coming in their diapers. They got over it. However, later that night, a big portion of those once true white knights went out of their way to get her Twitter account suspended. But not even that was enough for them. They didn't have their pound of flesh. They went after her TikTok as well, trying to get that suspended. That one never went down, but her Twitter was suspended for about an hour or so. She got it back. So in response, they copyright struck the dance video, the OK Boomer dance video, which, from what I can see, is still copyright claimed. And not by the person who made the song. They have come out publicly saying they didn't issue that. It was that group of people that are upset to find out that they never stood a chance of taking her to prom or anything. So after that, they really dug deep into their asshole to pull out their ultimate weapon, their final Manhattan project, the unfollow button. They mass unfollowed her account and she lost roughly 130,000 followers over the course of 24 hours. That is a fucking speed run right there. That's a speed run world record any percent shit. Fucking O.J. Simpson could go on Twitter right now and post a video admitting to the murders, and he would not lose that many followers in a day. That shit was on another level, what happened with Nico here. I've never seen something like that. All because she just told the world she had a boyfriend. She didn't feel she needed to hide it. I feel super bad for Nico here because she rose to stardom overnight just doing something she enjoyed doing, something wholesome, dancing. And then all of a sudden people get mad at her for having a life outside of their fantasy internet girl thing. It's just some sad shit. All around, just some super pathetic shit, honestly, from the Twitter simp wars. Now, what I talked about earlier, where I unfortunately contributed to it, actually makes me fucking sick. So what do I mean by that? I made that video yesterday talking about all of this Twitter simp wars because it was an entertaining topic. I didn't make it to try and lead some type of, holy crusade against the simps or anything like that. It was just to make jokes about it, as I always do with situations like this. Not some type of serious revolution I'm trying to start or some kind of movement. It's just to make some fucking jokes about it. But unfortunately, a lot of euphoric, enlightened, atheist Redditors watched that video and went on this holy crusade to eliminate the simps and, violently harass them, dox them, just some crazy shit. Because for the first time in a long time, I didn't censor the names of someone I showed on Twitter. So when I showed that thread about, the nudes troll thing, people went out of their way to attack those people and anyone they felt was an actual simp. Full disclosure, that thread of the nudes troll thing, those were all people making jokes. At the time, I didn't know that because on Twitter, it's hard to fucking tell. There are people that pathetic. There's people that make out with their dogs on Twitter. It's hard to tell what's a joke and what's not. So this led to this crazy witch hunt on Twitter between who's a real simp, who's an ironic simp, and then who's this Redditor that's coming in here with this fucking justice boner doing nothing but making things worse. Which means I added an Act 2 to this Twitter simp war completely unintentionally. I've learned my lesson now. I can't trust people to behave themselves if I show someone's name. I don't know why people can't just sit back and laugh about an entertaining situation like the Twitter simp wars here. I don't know why they have to go out of their way to try and prove something to themselves or God that they're fighting for the, you know, what's right by attacking these dudes on Twitter making jokes about it or some shit. I don't understand why someone is so compelled to go out of their way to fight for hours, and it's not a small number. This is over 1,000 people at least did this, fight for hours with these people joking about being simps, or they may have fought with real simps. It's literally impossible to tell. It's like that Spider-Man picture where he's pointing at himself and accusing each other. It's baffling to me how a large group of people could sit there and watch the video yesterday, realize it's all for jokes, but then take it as a call to arms to go on Twitter and fight for hours. Why? People go out of their way to, like, play in the fucking pig pen, the little swamp, and just fight battles on Twitter for no fucking reason. And then I feel responsible for it because now I've contributed to something like that, completely unintentionally. I've learned my lesson. I'm definitely going to keep blocking out people's names because I can't trust how someone's going to respond to it. It's silly. When I make a video like the one yesterday talking about some shit like that, it's just to make jokes about it. I'm not trying to rile up the community to take up arms, you know, Cheetos in hand and Mountain Dew in the other and go charge the front lines of Twitter. I'm just making fucking jokes about it. It's just there to have a little fun. And yet some people take it to this extreme and make it something entirely negative, and it's upsetting. That's really about it. Hopefully that's the end of the great Twitter simp war of 2020. Hopefully that puts a nice little bow on it. And yeah, that's about it. See ya. Yeah, I'm talking about Boogie again, the internet's favorite clown. Everyone is lining up to throw the baseball at the target to dunk this goober into the water tank, and I can't resist. It's actually unbelievable how he continues to find new, deplorable ways to sink deeper into degeneracy and dig himself even deeper holes. I am blown away by his ability to constantly embarrass himself. I don't know what kind of kink this is, but it goes beyond humiliation at this point. So buckle your seatbelt, I'm gonna deliver a high-speed Boogie breakdown here for what happened last night. So, Boogie has maintained for a while that he has cancer, and a lot of his reasoning behind his most recent cryptocurrency scam was that he needed the money for his medical treatments with his cancer. And last night, that diagnosis was challenged with people directly confronting about the authenticity of his claims because there were some inconsistencies and some shady things with what Boogie was saying about it. I believe the catalyst behind this whole conversation was Destiny, who spearheaded the questions that he had about Boogie's diagnosis, and it led to, like, directly talking with him about it, which then led to more and more people coming in to talk to Boogie about it. And for those that don't know, Boogie2988 is a pathological liar. He cannot help himself. Just like a pile of dog shit can't help but smell like poop, Boogie can't help but lie. Even about the most trivial things ever. He used to tell fibs about games and, like, what games he was playing and finishing and why he needed to buy games to review them only to never review the games. Like, I'm surprised he didn't start weighing in on the Elden Ring DLC being too hard, saying some shit like, oh, well, yeah, so the Elden Ring DLC was quite simple for me, really. I kind of first tried every single boss. My favorite boss was Rudonius of the Hidden Leaf Village, obviously. Like, he just lies, and he can't help but continue to lie anytime he sees an opportunity for it, especially if it could potentially lead to some level of sympathy. Oh, yes, I've experienced racism. Me, Boogie2988, as you know, I'm a full-blooded Atlantean, and I recall when Plato came to our hidden continent and sunk it himself because he didn't like the color of our skin. Like, he is just a liar, is the point I'm trying to make here. An outrageous one at that. So, with some of the things he was saying, people started to question whether or not he really did have cancer, so they confronted him directly on a podcast, and throughout the 3 or so hours that he was on the podcast there, he chose the worst possible dialogue options every single time, and it eventually culminated with him getting naked.
So your shred of privacy is this: but not being naked on film, not talking about fucking whores.
Yeah, I'll get naked right now. I'll get naked right now.
Take it off.
Talk about
Let's do it.
A pretty interesting strategy here to get nude, just strip down to your birthday suit. Boogie's playing chess, the rest of us are playing checkers. Lying about having cancer takes a very special kind of scumbag. It's not unheard of on the internet, there's plenty of famous cases of people doing that, but to come in and question Boogie on it, like, you've got to have your ducks in a row. And Boogie, when defending himself, refused to show even a single shred of evidence to push back against the claims, and the claims had more evidence than Boogie did about his diagnosis. And it eventually reached the point where people were begging him to just show, like, a fucking single molecule that would somehow lend any credence to Boogie's claims, and he just refused. There was I think it was an $80,000 bounty. Like, multiple YouTubers came in and offered thousands upon thousands of dollars to Boogie, up to $80,000, to just show a piece of his medical record to a trusted third party, so that way they could verify it, that he really does have cancer like he claims he does, and he refused. Which is very weird, considering Boogie just scammed his audience for $10,000 talking about how desperate he was for money because of his medical bills and everything. So he'll scam his audience for $10,000, but he won't just briefly show a little piece of his medical record here for 80 grand, 80,000 clams? That just doesn't add up. Because he's talking about how it's like the last bastion of privacy he has, which doesn't make any sense because Boogie has never given a fuck about privacy. Every single aspect of his life he has pushed into the public eye that people have to just like have their fucking retinas burned out against their will because Boogie is shoving every aspect of his personal life down their throat. Yet this is the one thing he wants privacy on, even though he himself was the first one to ever talk about it. It just doesn't make sense. So it's definitely not looking good for Boogie after this. He's since deactivated his Twitter account and everything, which probably is only temporary. He's addicted to Twitter. It's like a heroin addict. Like, I imagine he's going to go back to the needle here to Twitter. But for now, it's looking like his ham got steamed on this podcast. It doesn't look good here. Of course, it hasn't been 100% definitively proven that he's lying about his diagnosis or anything like that, but the whole situation around it is very weird for sure. And I just want to show you a little bit from it. Now, a buddy of mine, whom I'm sure all of you have heard me talk about in the past, Jackson Clark, that's a name that lives in infamy in the mind of Boogie. Jackson Clark is Boogie's boogeyman. He mentioned Jackson so many times unprompted in this podcast that the other hosts were left stunned, wondering who the fuck is Jackson? Because Jackson has, for a long time now, been pushing back against a lot of what Boogie has said and done to his audience. And Jackson, a while back, did talk about the diagnosis on Twitter, and it has, I guess, weighed heavy on the psyche of Boogie.
Yeah, I'm never showing any of these motherfuckers my medical paper. Go fuck yourself. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm staying by it now. Destiny, Jackson Clark, Keemstar, you can see it when I fucking die. It's my fucking goddamn medical record.
I don't know why Jackson Clark was on the tip of his tongue there in the middle of this panel, but wow, that's so big. Hold on, I gotta send that to Jackson. Jackson's gonna have a big old smile and a big old wet spot in his trousers for it. That's big. It was Destiny who put up 5K and Muda put up 50K. Oh wow. Yeah, it's not like Boogie to turn down free money like that. He just scammed his audience for $10,000, which in this podcast he openly admits to. I think it was who was it? Like, I think it was Nicholas Diorio. Nicholas Diorio at the very end came in and he's like, "What do you mean morals? You scammed your audience for 10K." And Boogie goes, "Yeah, but this is different." He's like, "This is two separate things."
Because I'm insisting on it. Because
Drop the microphone. No, wait. Why would you have to insist on a biopsy if you can confirm?
But this is basically the whole podcast where they are picking apart Boogie's story and just begging and even trying to offer him tons of money to prove that he actually has what he says he has. Where does he mention more Jackson, though?
Goddamn medical records. And I don't want one of you motherfuckers feeling sorry for me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you do.
Okay?
As
You
Mike
can
just
hate me
got
as much
quiet.
as you fucking want. But that's I'm taking one goddamn thing with me. And this is a decision I made when Jackson Clark demanded this shit 2 fucking years ago. And it's
Turn
a
your mic
decision
up.
I'm fucking sticking to here 2 years
I don't know who
later.
Jackson Clark is.
I don't even know if I'm getting...
That's incredible! Jackson Clark, he did it again! First and last name! He's doing it! He's doing it! That's so huge. And now he looks like a pioneer for being the first to request the Panama Papers on Boogie here. And then 2:43 on the dot, Jackson mentioned again. This is like a Where's Waldo game. Alright, so 2:43 mentioned again.
Getting his name right. It's fucking Moist Critical's butt buddy. I don't fucking know.
Why do you keep
They do a
calling him
podcast
Jackson
together.
Clark?
I don't
Wait, he's getting name dropped again!
know his real name. What is it?
What do you mean you don't know his real name? You've said it 4 times. Jackson Clark. You think that's an alias? A first and last name alias? His real name's fucking Steve Cheeseburger? And why you pretend you don't know his real name? You tweet about him every now and then after blocking him so he can't fight back. That's his pseudonym. He's using it like J.K. Rowling.
I'm gonna let him have
too,
the win.
right?
I'm gonna let
I'd
him
break
have
some
the win.
type of law.
I'm gonna let him have the
laws,
win.
yeah.
I'm gonna let him have the win.
What's the reasoning behind that? Why are you letting him have the win?
Because as I said to Jackson Clark 2 years ago, or at least said about
Jackson
it.
Clark.
Yeah, I am not sharing my medical records. I'm not sharing this with the internet. This is for me. I'm good.
How much money did Jackson Clark get you to fucking say his name?
Yeah, I know, right?
On this stream?
I don't know.
Great advertising, yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's good for
Jackson Clark.
Penguinz0, Jackson Clark, Penguinz0, Jackson Clark. Check it out. Buy Fatty Coin. There.
That's, honestly, put that on the back of the DVD box. That is so fucking flames. Hold on, I'm telling Jackson timestamps. Get Jackson on stream. He's sleeping right now. It's Australia. He's not up yet. He actually hates you too. He does. He absolutely does. 100%. But he hates everyone that doesn't immediately fall in line and agree with him. What's crazy is he doesn't hate Keemstar, who literally invited him over to his house on the 4th of July just to throw ice cubes at him and bully him. But he hates everybody else. Literally everybody else. It's so odd. It's super weird. I don't know why he hates me and Jackson so much more than everyone else. I genuinely do not. I have talked about Boogie twice. Once with his crypto scam and once with the documentary that dropped where he talked about how his life fell apart from buying hookers and everything and still had a crazy ego about how he deserves to fuck tens. And all kinds of heinous shit. Those are the only 2 times I talked about him. And comparatively to everyone else, I don't even think I was that mean. I gave him legitimate advice about maybe instead of scamming your audience, you should just keep making YouTube videos. He averages 20k views per video. If you just make a video a day at that average, he would be able to support himself with at least $10,000 a month. Easy. Bare minimum. Like, I feel like, honestly, it was pretty reasonable. But maybe he doesn't like to hear that. He'd rather people throw ice cubes at him in person. I don't know. I really don't know. You guys did make fun of him in the documentary for like an entire podcast episode. Yeah, constructively. Like, if you're going through all these health problems, maybe don't start every day with a Mountain Dew after you take off your fucking CPAP machine. Like, that's constructive. I think. Like, instead of a Mountain Dew, anything else. And maybe just doing fucking acid in the middle of the forest with a fucking shaman is not going to be the therapist you need. I know, yeah, I know. They brought in everyone for this one. It's certainly not looking like Boogie was telling the truth, shockingly. But who knows? Maybe for some reason he really is refusing like $80,000 in order to keep this last bastion of privacy, which isn't really private considering he was the one that talked about it first. Watched all 4 hours. He doesn't hate you and Jackson. He thinks Jackson Clark is your real name and Charles White is one of your internet aliases. No, that's not true. He knows we're separate people. Now you're just making shit up, but I love that. I love that idea. Jackson Clark is my Australian alter. So a couple of quick things. I have made 2 videos on Boogie ever, but he has become a pretty common topic on the podcast where we talk about some of his more recent shenanigans. So maybe that's where he's hearing a lot of it from, because in videos, it's only been 2 from me. And on the podcast, it's not just me, it's everyone kind of just going over like the Boogie recap on what he's doing right now and why he probably shouldn't be doing what he's doing right now and how he can do things that are better than that. Like maybe that's where he's seeing a lot of it from, where he gets this idea that I'm always, shitting on him or whatever. And the other thing I actually want to dive into a little bit is where I briefly mentioned that if Boogie would just make a video a day, or at least increase the frequency in which he creates content, he would be able to support himself. And he wouldn't need to resort to scams or lies or these elaborate ruses to try and squeeze milk from a stone here and shake down the last remaining audience he has for their lunch money. He could just support himself through what he used to do, which was make content. Yes, he lost most of his audience once they started to take a peek behind the mask, the facade that he put up, then they noticed that he's like the goddamn Babadook, right? He's a monster. But his channel was so big that even losing the majority of his audience still leaves him with a very sizable audience left. That's bigger than like 99% of other channels on the platform already. And averaging between 20 to 30,000 views per video is sustainable. I have another channel, and I've talked about it a couple of times, called Skill Check. And this is for all of the nerdy shit that I love to do. It's pretty niche. So Dungeons and Dragons and trading card games. Right now, mainly Magic the Gathering Commander, but we're branching into more Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece TCG content. I have a huge passion for this shit. And the average views on the videos for that channel is right around 30 to 40,000-ish. Sometimes they pop off like the Commander game with Wubby or the Shot Caller Commander game, but the average is between like 30 to 40,000 across the whole channel. And I'm going to just give you a peek behind the old analytics here. This is what the channel generates. Of 2.1 million views per month, it makes over $7,000 per month. Now let's compare that to Boogie's channel. Boogie, even when not creating content, his channel basically just gathers fucking cobwebs because he doesn't want to put any work in and make stuff. Even with that in mind, his channel still makes almost 1 million views per month. Now imagine if he would just post more frequently. He could easily fucking support himself through AdSense. He could. No matter what lie he tries to feed you about how that's not possible, no one wants to watch him, his average says otherwise. He just doesn't want to do it. He's looking for the easier paydays, like taking $10,000 up front to pump a fucking crypto scam. If it is true that Boogie is lying about all of this, that'll just be yet another unbelievably low thing that Boogie has done throughout his career. And he has made a career out of doing some of the lowest shit the platform's ever seen. So again, it hasn't been 100% confirmed that he's lied about this. So maybe he is telling the truth. Maybe he's got stick it to the man neosis. Like it's just all a very odd set of circumstances with the way all of this is unfolding here. And I just had to talk about it a little bit because, man, I mean, Jackson Clark, he got mentioned so many times here, and this is just such a fucking weird story. That's really about it. See ya. As I was rendering the video here, some new lore just dropped, a little update to this case. Keemstar made a tweet kind of talking about some things behind the scenes. Now, he's like the Boogie whisperer. Boogie tells him everything, I guess. So, I think probably best to wait for Boogie to confirm all of this, but I'll at least put this here for the sake of covering everything that's come out here. According to Keem's tweet, Boogie went on steroids that could cause cancer in the blood, and then 2 years ago, after he lost his money in crypto, went to the doctor, said he had high red blood cells, indicating he may have it. And before he got any confirmation, he made a YouTube video announcing it, and then for 2 years has been telling people he has it to use it for sympathy, and he never actually got confirmation, but now apparently he's scheduled to go see whether or not he has it. So that's the most recent update there, and it doesn't come directly from Boogie, so I guess we might have to wait to see what he says about it, even though Boogie himself isn't really a reliable narrator since he lies about everything ever. But again, there is no 100% confirmation on whether or not he's lying about this or anything, but it is certainly very peculiar. Very, very weird. That's about it. See ya. I know Thanksgiving's right around the corner, but I'm too excited. By golly, I tell ya, I can't wait, so I'm serving up the turkey early. So I hope you've brought your appetite, because here comes the choo-choo train open wide. I'm feeding you something very wacky today. This week, 2 Arizona school teachers lost their jobs after some of their OnlyFans content they were producing leaked. And it wasn't so much the existence of the OnlyFans itself, it was more so the fact that some of that content was filmed in the classroom that the woman teaches at. Her name is Samantha, and she was an 8th grade science teacher by day, but by night, she was a penis professor. And she filmed videos with her husband where he would just fuck her in the classroom that she teaches at, just reducing a holy dojo of education to a simple cum dumpster. Now, in response to all of this blowing up, she's come forward with another video, but this time she's not getting her ass spread open, she's spreading her side of the situation. So, she has this video that explains why she did all of this, as well as going over how everything unfolded. And I'd like to share that with you all, as well as going a bit deeper about the situation, because it's maybe even a bit more than wacky. This is starting to teeter on the edge of being pure silliness, even, I dare say.
I created content at the beginning of the summer in order to earn extra money on the side to help pay for our basic necessities that our salaries were no longer meeting.
So she starts by explaining that teacher salary, especially in Arizona, is dog shit. And you'll get no argument from me there. Teachers get paid in popsicle sticks, basically. I think their salary is laughable compared to the work they're expected to do and how miserable the job can be. You make more money boosting League of Legends accounts every other weekend than you do as a full-time teacher. It's fucking ridiculous. I think it's just sad. And her husband is also a teacher, so a 2-teacher salary isn't exactly like hitting the jackpot. That's not an infinite money cheat code or anything. So she says that her and her husband started to struggle with being able to meet the basic requirements for their family and their children, which is why she looked for alternative income methods and chose OnlyFans. But then the question still exists of why do it in the fucking classroom that you teach your students at? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I chose an anonymous name as well as blocking the entire state of Arizona on my OnlyFans so that it wasn't accessible to anyone living in the state.
I didn't even know this was something you could do. I had no idea our technology was this advanced where you could just ban an entire state from checking out your OnlyFans. It makes sense that she tried this approach here, so that way no one in the immediate area would ever find it, but clearly something went awry. The technology must not be bulletproof because they still found it, and rather easily, it seems. Just listen to this. One student reportedly told his mother that his teacher was spread over his desk. What a crazy conversation that must have been. Just picture yourself being that kid. You're hanging out, sipping your apple juice, just a normal 8th grade day, and a friend of yours sends you a link to a video your teacher filmed and says, "Isn't that your science teacher, Miss Samantha?" So you click it, you open it, and there it is. No secrets left. Your teacher is being spread like butter on toast, and it's on your desk. You just sit there thinking to yourself, oh man, I did algebra on that desk. And then imagine going into school on Monday and coming right up to that desk, like you'd have nothing but like these war flashbacks, these visions of cheeks being clapped on your desk as a tear streams down your face. I'm also curious how many desks she was fucked on top of, because in another report someone said, "That was my friend's daughter's desk, and she is mortified over the situation." It really seems like no desk was safe in this situation here. And I have to wonder, did they like clean up after themselves or anything? Because they didn't set it up like it was a scene out of Dexter where he puts up like all of the, sterile environment, like surgery operating room kind of shit. They just went in there raw and like in the actual classroom and fucked. Did they at least bring Clorox and wipe off the desks when they were done using it? Or did students then go into that classroom after the weekend and wonder why their desks smelt like asshole? This whole thing just doesn't make any sense. But you know what does make sense? How great my G Fuel flavor is. Divine Peach. Anyone that's tried it has had their lives improved for the better, I have no doubt about that. And now I'm happy to report that the cans are here and they're a GNC exclusive right now for stores. So if you want to find your closest GNC, there's a link in the description for that to pick up a can of Divine Peach. Now I've mentioned this on stream, but I'd like to mention it here as well. The caffeine content on my flavor is 140 milligrams as opposed to the standard 300 milligrams for other cans. And I'm really happy about that because that's the caffeine that I prefer. So I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. And there's also a sweepstakes going on right now for anyone who buys a can and takes a selfie of themselves dressed as me. You stand to win a G Fuel mini fridge or a 12-pack of Divine Peach.
The video that was created and advertised was made after contract hours on the weekend. No minors were ever present or involved in the videos.
I don't think anyone was ever trying to make the accusation that minors were present or somehow involved in the content, because that would be a whole different ballgame. This would be an entirely different conversation. That would be a massive, massive, massive crime. Now, what people are saying is even though minors weren't present, the fact that you're using their space for adult content is a problem, obviously. So although there's no kids there, like Junior's not knocking on the door to the classroom, Miss Samantha, I've got my extra credit homework. Oh, jeepers! Like, even though there's no kids actually there, the fact that you're fucking in their playground is an issue. You can't just go to a kid's space and film this kind of content. It's not okay. You can't just, like, venture on over to Chuck E. Cheese and get your back blown out in the ball pit, film it, and expect nothing to come from it, expect it to be all honky-dory. And again, why did you want to use the kids' space for your porn? Why? It's not like that was your only option. You could have done your OnlyFans anywhere else, like at home. Why did you take it and film fucking porn in the space that you teach children? It is so fucked up and weird. And also, I'm sure all of you have realized this by now, but after school hours and on weekend doesn't necessarily mean there's no kids on the campus. I remember growing up, there were always club activities and shit that would go on weekends. So it was still very possible that there were kids in the nearby vicinity. It doesn't mean that there was no kids ever even close to their situation. It just, luckily, none of the kids ever, like, walked in on this shit. The whole video also isn't helped by the fact that she's clearly reading something she wrote in Microsoft Word and is trying to, like, keep up with it, so she'll take these long pauses to scroll, and you can see sometimes she loses her place in the document. So it also comes across as very insincere since she is blatantly just reading it very monotone from her monitor. So I don't think that helped anything that she was saying here, to be honest.
I am already paying the consequence by losing my teaching certificate as well as losing the job that I loved most. I thoroughly enjoyed working with my coworkers, teaching my students science, and it brought joy to me every day. Looking back at the situation, I wholly regret creating the video in the classroom after school hours. But I felt trapped in my financial situation, and I felt this was the only way that my family would be able to survive.
Really? This was the only way, the only option? Having your husband give you the Big McThankies from McSpankies in the classroom you are a teacher of. That's the only way your family could survive? How? And why couldn't you just film yourself getting fucked by him at your house? In the safety and comfort of your own house, in private, away from everyone else, and certainly away from the area that kids go to learn. Jesus Christ, if the whole idea was to sell a fantasy to perverts about a school teacher being fucked on the job or whatever, why not just set that up at your house? Just get a little desk, a TI-85 calculator, and a ruler, and then still have your husband give you the business there, away from actual schools. Like, it just seems like a no-brainer. So yeah, overall, a pretty wild and wacky situation. Again, I do understand teachers do not get a fair salary. Their pay is pathetic for what they do, and how important teachers are. They're, like, probably one of the most important jobs, and yet they make no money from it, basically. So I do understand the financial struggle, but that doesn't excuse what Samantha and her husband did here. All of their actions fucking in the classroom that they teach kids at is despicable and sick. So it's no excuse for their actions, but I do understand that the teacher salary is terrible. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah. Boy howdy, do I have a wacky story to share with you today. On today's episode of I Can't Believe It's Not Florida, we have the story of a man in New Jersey who crashed his car through a police station while listening to Welcome to the Jungle. So I'm guessing he had that song cranked to max volume and the adrenaline was pumping in his body. The song was reaching its crescendo. It's about to go into the chorus, and then this guy's eyes roll into the back of his skull. Welcome to the Jungle summons the spirit of Evil Knievel, takes the wheel. The demon of speed is there, puts the pedal to the metal, and just crashes into the police station. And then he, like, celebrates, kind of. It's an unbelievable clip here from the surveillance camera footage. He gets out of the car like a gymnast who just landed an impressive trick. He like strikes a pose like he was expecting some kind of huge celebration, a massive round of applause as if it was a concert or something and he was performing. It's almost impressive just how much gusto he gets out of the car with. I don't know what he was expecting to happen next. Man thought he was in an audition for Expendables 5, I guess. He's a fucking action movie hero. I have to wonder what he thought would happen next. Maybe he expected them to let him off with a warning because it was so cool. The officers would come out there and just be like, brother, that was the most badass thing I've ever seen. Fist bump. God bless America. Now get out of here. This is your warning. But unsurprisingly, they didn't just slap him on the wrist and send him on his way. He is facing potentially life in prison, not only for this incident, but he actually did something very similar previous to this. This isn't his first rodeo with crashing a car into a building. So apparently he had crashed his gold Toyota SUV into a garage of a private residence to try and scare and harass the homeowner, which he is still facing charges for right now. So this fucking dangerous, unhinged goofball treats motor vehicles like they're missiles. He is just blasting these into any building. Nowhere is safe. You know that statistic that gets tossed around from time to time about how you're more likely to be killed in your chair in the living room than you are on a plane, in a plane crash? I'm starting to believe that now, because with this kind of person out there in the wild, you never know when a car is going to be just crashing through your walls like the Kool-Aid Man, like a fucking torpedo, and just hitting you in the living room out of nowhere. Like, that is just, it's incomprehensible. So he's built up quite an impressive resume here with a lot of charges to his name. So for the first incident, he's facing burglary, criminal mischief, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and harassment. And now for this one, he's facing a terrorism charge, which carries a minimum sentence of 30 years and a maximum sentence of life, causing widespread injury or damage, aggravated assault, burglary, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and criminal mischief. The punishment fits the crime here. It's not like these are exaggerated charges. He just blindly blasted his vehicle into this building. He had no idea if there was going to be people on the other side of it, which could have easily killed people. So yeah, all of these charges really fit the crime. He is not safe to be in society, especially not behind the wheel of a vehicle. Now, one other thing I find shocking about this footage is how calm the officers are in responding to this. They make it seem like it's just routine, as if cars are just crashing through their walls every hour of every day. It's like they just get out there and they're annoyed, like bothered. Oh, jeepers. Jiminy Christmas, another one? Alright, come here, son. I can't believe you've done this. Oh, bother. Alright, book him. Now we're gonna have to clean up another wall. I just don't know how it's possible to be that calm in that situation. They just look exhausted. They look tired and annoyed. Whereas, like, that would be the most shocking jump scare imaginable. Jump scares don't scare me in horror movies or horror games or anything like that, but this would probably actually have me shit myself. 100% I would stain my britches. That is the most unexpected thing to happen. And it's not like that's immediately what you would expect the sound to be. Like, they were in the room over, so they would have just mainly heard it as opposed to see it right away. That must have sounded like a bomb going off. My first thought would be that we had just been hit by a drone strike or something. I wouldn't immediately think like a car came through here or something. Like that I would be in a panic. I would be inconsolable. I'd be shaking. Meanwhile, these two officers here walk out like they'd just been rudely interrupted from their nap. It's just wild to me. Also, something I didn't mention, I mentioned that he had previously crashed into another building, a private residence. Well, what I didn't mention is that first crash had happened only minutes prior to this one. So this guy was just on a rampage. He must have been looping Welcome to the Jungle here, and it was bringing the worst out of him. Now, they haven't disclosed what the motive could have possibly been for crashing into the police station, but here's where I come into the equation, because I'm about to crack this case wide open. This is what I think happened. This is my theory. I got the corkboard up with a bunch of red lines drawn to a bunch of different scenarios. So let's piece together what we know for sure. His first crash into the private residence was due to a disagreement with the owner, and it was meant to scare and harass them. I think right after he committed to that, he knew shit was not going to go well for him, so he wanted to go out with a bang. So then he drove a few minutes away to the police station and turned himself in the only way he knew how. With Welcome to the Jungle sending him off like a WWE walkout song and a giant fucking explosion here of crashing through the building. I think his motive was truly he had just ruined his life prior by crashing through the private residence, and he just decided to go all in into the lunacy and then crash through the police station. That's what I think happened here, because there's no other potential explanation that I can think of, not even in the realm of science fiction. Like, I can't think of, you know, maybe a possession or something, or like some kind of alien event or anything to try and explain away what could possibly have led to this. I really think it was him knowing that he had already committed a serious crime, and he just, I don't know, decided to go even harder for it and just call it quits by driving through the police station. Or another very likely explanation is he has severe mental illness and completely fucking snapped. That's also very possibly the case here. Who knows? I am excited to see when they finally reveal the motive, because he doesn't seem like a man who's going to be, you know, tight-lipped. It doesn't seem like he's going to be hard to get the truth out of. He probably told them at the police station why he did it. They just haven't said to the public yet. He literally got out and celebrated like he just scored a fucking touchdown in an NFL game, right? This isn't a guy who's going to be super hard to get to the bottom of with his reasoning. He's probably an open book who will just tell them why he did it. But yeah, anyway, I just had to share this story and clip with all of you because, my goodness gracious, that is like something you would see as a fake headline in the background of a movie or a game or something. Just something that people would make up because it sounds ridiculous, but it actually happened. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. I feel like I've said this 100 times by now, but I'm gonna yap about it again, so get ready to add to that tally. Being the first person to accomplish something will always be a significant achievement no matter what it is. Whether you're Matt Damon being the first person to grow potatoes on Mars, or Charles White being the first person to achieve a sub 20-second speed run in the game Mr. Krabs overdoses on ketamine and dies. Both of these things are something to be proud of. And a few days ago, we got to witness something incredible. The first human being to actually beat Tetris for the NES. This is something that has never been done before in the 30-plus year history of the game, and it's a feat that was long thought impossible. But that's what people said about my growth spurt, and trust me, it's on the way. Nothing is impossible. And the runner named Blue Scooty proved that by reaching the first true kill screen for Tetris. He posted the run on his YouTube channel. His real name is Willis. He's 13 years old, and he did something no one else has ever done before with this accomplishment. It's extremely impressive here, and there's a great video that breaks down what makes it so special, as well as kind of the entire history of running Tetris. So I highly recommend checking this video out to really get a full understanding of the scale of this achievement. So as you would expect, everyone got really excited about this. People love to see something being done for the first time ever, being able to feel like you're part of history to witness this moment. And everyone was pumping their fist, celebrating this achievement from Willis, except for one lady. One miserable old asshole had to go out there, and instead of pumping her fist, she was shaking it, saying, "Damn you kids, you hooligans, this isn't cool. I'm not having any fun, so why should you?" and spit on it on a news broadcast. She's this journalist who made an absolute fucking fool of herself. Alright, let's talk about Tetris. So I'm sure all of you saw this yesterday, but big news, or was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday. Big news though, a 13-year-old became the first human being to actually beat Tetris. So fundamentally what that means is the game stopped working. He had a score so high that the CPU just couldn't process it anymore, and it stopped working. Which is crazy. It's a wild accomplishment. Like, it's super cool. So here's the clip. There's a great YouTube video on it already. But the kid's super excited, and he has every right to be. It's a wonderful achievement. Very wholesome, very cool. Everyone was pumping their fists for the kid, except for Ebenezer Scrooge over here. This absolute witch. This lady took it as an opportunity to belittle it and insult him. So here's a segment from Sky News, which is already a joke of an organization. And I guess this host was having a bit of a rough day. needed to shit on some people's fun. There we go.
Now, Tetris has long been touted as a video game that just can't be beaten because it just goes on and on. Well, 13-year-old American Willis Gibson has technically proven that wrong. He beat the original Nintendo version of the game by reaching such a high level that the coding froze. That left the program unable to generate any more falling blocks.
Now, ordinarily, as a news anchor...
Step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Speaking of fresh air, let's get a look at the weather.
Good one. So as a news anchor, you would think that your wholesome news segment, which this was, it was supposed to be uplifting news, you probably wouldn't want to sully it by shitting on the person, the subject here. But she just couldn't help herself. There's no way that was in the script. And she's so fucking proud of herself, too, for insulting a 13-year-old. Oh, whoops, misclick.
Step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal.
I don't understand. It is a very impressive achievement. And it's not like we're in the, the early 90s anymore. You can make a whole career out of an achievement like that. That kid could go on to do a lot of cool things as that being his, lightning rod moment. That is something to be proud of and could legitimately turn into a more prosperous career than this soulless husk of a woman sitting here on Sky News. With this hollow smile. Probably in a loveless marriage. I'll get parasocial. He literally did nothing besides just enjoy himself, pull off something really fucking cool, and she's just going with the classic, oh, go outside nerd shit. It's so ridiculous. And, legitimately out of nowhere for an uplifting news segment. This kid should try Donkey Kong next, take the title from Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell would go to his house and break his kneecaps himself, personally. And then pour his hot sauce brand in his eyeballs or something, try and blind him. For his own safety, Willis should stay away from Donkey Kong. I'm gonna sue a 13-year-old for being better than him. A crazy plot twist would be if Billy Mitchell sued Willis, assuming Willis takes the title, of cheating. That'd be almost poetic. Oh, look, this is cute. The makers of Tetris agree. Congratulations to Blue Scuddy for achieving this extraordinary accomplishment, a feat that defies all preconceived limits of this legendary game. Tetris CEO Maya Rogers said in a statement. Rogers noted that Tetris will celebrate its 40th anniversary this year and called Willis' victory a monumental achievement. That's so fucking cute. It really is a monumental achievement that Willis should be extraordinarily proud of. He's earned it. And he also dedicated that world record run to his father, who had recently passed away. So the whole situation should have been a very wholesome, heartfelt moment on Sky News here, but this venomous asshole decided to insult the kid for this and belittle the achievement publicly with this smug little smile on her face, like she was so happy with herself to be ruining other people's fun. Or trying to make a 13-year-old feel bad. It's craziness. This is a grown-ass adult. More than a grown-ass adult. It's an adult that's teetering on geriatric these days. And to do this, it's just frustrating. It's no surprise that everyone online came crashing down upon her, dunking on her left and right, because she made herself the easiest asshole on the planet to dislike. Just so miserable. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that briefly because this is an incredible achievement that unfortunately was sullied a little bit because of her reporting, but I actually think it had more of an opposite effect. Yeah, a lot of maybe the older octogenarians that are watching Sky News probably were like, ha ha ha, this is stupid, kids playing games isn't cool, or that's not a real achievement or a life goal, like she says, ha ha ha. Like, while they may not care and may belittle it, this actually put more of a spotlight on Blue Scooty, his achievement. So I think, in turn, this may have actually been even more beneficial because it got even more people aware that Willis had just done something that had never been done before with this Tetris world record. All in all, it may have actually been a net positive that this lady made an absolute clown of herself publicly for everyone to throw tomatoes at. But I just wanted to cover this briefly. Another huge congratulations to Blue Scooty. I'm excited to see where the Tetris community goes from here. As of making this video, there's already been 2 other runners that have also reached the true kill screen. So kind of like when the 4-minute mile barrier was broken and then a lot of other people started to be able to get 4-minute miles, that's kind of what's happening with Tetris at the moment, with 2 other runners reaching this kill screen. So really incredible stuff, and I'm excited to see more from it in the future. So yeah, I just want to talk about it a little bit, and I also want to give you a quick Starforge update, the best PCs in the universe, in case any of you are needing to upgrade your PC or needing to get a PC to start with some gaming. Starforge is the best option available. You can click the link in the description below to get started, and here's a little word from Starforge.
With generational improvements, aesthetic updates, and our consistently high build quality, this system is bound to be the envy of both family and friends alike. For yours, check out StarForgeSystems.com, and I'll see you in the Forge.
Hello everyone, Merry Christmas. I know it looks like I'm being held hostage, but I'm not. I'm fine, I promise. I swear on jolly old Saint Nick. But I do recognize that this looks like some kind of witness protection leaked footage kind of thing, like an interview with Edward Snowden or something. So I'm on a little Christmas trip, and I hope all of you had a wonderful holiday. Hopefully Santa Claus delivered wonderful presents and beautiful ass for you all to eat today. And I've got to tell you, he left a little something special for me, that old greasy bastard. You see, Santa Claus and his reindeer were able to evade NORAD, which is America's air defense program, in order to deliver something truly awful for me. And it is the gift of knowledge. He blessed me with a link to an article on a reality TV star who's begun selling her farts in jars and has made over $100,000 in the last couple weeks doing it. It's amazing. I don't remember if Christmas is supposed to be the celebration of Jesus' birth or remembrance of his death. I couldn't tell you, but I imagine it's probably his death, and this is probably what killed him.
Hey guys, welcome to another day in the life of a girl who sells her farts in a jar. Since my last TikTok, I've completed over 100 more orders, and people have been asking me for proof, and the proof is in the pudding.
Now that is a stinky pudding. $78,000 from jarred fart sales. This is what 2021 is all about. This is entrepreneurship in the modern era. If only I'd seen this video a week earlier, I would have had a great stocking stuffer for my whole family. I'd be giving jarred farts away like candy. Yeah, so this is how I'm spending my Christmas, envious of a woman who's jarring her farts and making 6 figures off it. This ties perfectly into something I've been saying for a long time now, and something that I still truly believe. I think any woman, or man for that matter, should start an OnlyFans ASAP. You can just make tons of money doing fully clothed pictures. Like pictures you would post on Instagram, you can post on OnlyFans instead, and people will pay for them. There are desperate, lonely weirdos that will pay top dollar for anything, no matter how trivial it is. You actually think she's farting in all of these jars? No chance. At the very least, at least when Belle Delphine was selling her gamer girl bathwater, you were at least getting water in those mason jars. Here, you're getting an idea, an imaginary fart in there. There's no way to confirm it's actually there. I don't think every time you open it, you're gonna get like a fucking Methodist, you know, like a blast of this odious ungus of a fart that she's dumped in there. Like, I just don't think that's happened. I think she's literally just taking empty jars, putting like little roses in them and shipping them. I don't think she's farting in them. Not to, you know, put on the tinfoil hat here, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't think she's farting 500 times a day to fulfill the orders here. There's just no way her ass can meet the demand right now. She doesn't have the supply for it, unless she has like some kind of turbo X-Men mutant style colon that's able to just constantly blast these bad boys out. I just don't think it's possible, because she's getting hundreds of orders, because she's made over 6 figures doing this. It's amazing. Though I guess it is possible she's able to, because apparently she's dedicated her whole life to this art here, so she eats a diet that helps her fart all the time, like constantly. And she even has this video where she's checking on her colon after a day of farting. I don't know what happens there. Maybe the colon just gives her a thumbs up, like, yep, still good down here. But I guess it could be possible, theoretically.
Look at that. You are welcome. So today started off very early. I had a radio show interview that was based in Mumbai, India. So had to be up at 4 a.m. to get my hair and makeup ready so I'd look sexy for the fart buyers of India, who are one of my biggest demographics.
Honestly, this is a Sigma grind set right here. She's farting, she's shitting, and she's doing interviews to continue farting and shitting professionally. She's entered the realm of professional farting, and jarring, I suppose, by extension. Now, I know a lot of people are quick to judge and say, wow, women have it so easy, they can just jar their own farts. Ugh, they're playing life on recruit difficulty. But think about this for a moment. You have to basically be ready at any moment of the day to start jarring a fart. Like, I've juiced out some real wet ones over the last week or so, because I've been eating a little unhealthy on this vacation. And I wouldn't even stop to think to jar them, you know? Like, it'd be such a hassle, like, oh my god, I'm at the family dinner, I've got a good one ready to squeak out of my butt cheeks, and I have to jar it because this is going to sell for premium, you know? This is going to be a collector's item. I'm going to probably mark it up because it'll be like the elite package, you know, something like that. And it's just, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to this business, and I don't think any of them are easy, and I think it probably weighs on her mentally, but she's a hero. She's a champion. She's a fucking farting champion, and she's starting to reap the rewards of it because she's not afraid to put in the extra effort to get to the top.
Then I spend a portion of my day working on my fart jar NFTs that are launching in just a couple weeks. I chat with my fart jar community on Discord, answering questions, talking about my farts, and working with my graphic design team. And after that, I have some shipments to drop off at the post office.
More like shitments, am I right? Because she's selling farts and shit. But anyway, this is about the most predictable 2021 outcome of any business ever, turning it into an NFT. It's almost poetic. To take fart and shit and make it an NFT, I think that is absolutely beautiful. Though if you ask me, it kind of defeats the purpose of a fart jar, because the whole point of the fart jar is that it's a physical thing, right? You can open it and get that hit, you know, that dopamine rush. Whereas with a fart jar NFT, you don't get that. It's just like a piece of art that you have to assume represents one of her meaty blasts from her ass, I guess. But again, I'm not like the main clientele here. I'm not one of her buyers or in her demographic. So maybe people are buying the fart jars just to keep them as a collector's piece, put it over the fireplace, or maybe even put it like in like a glass display or something to talk about. I just imagine with fart jars, the whole point is that you can at any moment open it and gas out the whole room. You actually get something physical and you get a smell and an experience, whereas in NFT you don't really get that. But I'm sure it'll do extremely well because anything with an NFT does well from fucking idiots, I guess. So I just want to talk about this because this is how I've spent the last hour of my Christmas, is just reading about her and watching some of her explanations on how the fart jar business is going. She's got a whole fart jar enthusiast community, and I just think it's incredible. I think that's great, so congratulations to her, and what a great year for fart jar enthusiasts everywhere. That's about it. See ya. What is the luckiest thing that can possibly happen to a person? I'm sure there's a legitimate, verified answer to this question using statistics and probability to calculate it. But hooey with that. Just like a Twitter user, I'm plugging my ears and I'm closing my eyes and I'm gonna make something up. I'm pulling something out of my ass. I'm making the assumption that the luckiest thing that can ever happen to you is winning the lottery. The odds of you taking home the jackpot in something like the Powerball are so unbelievably low. So teeny tiny, itty bitty, that it is incomprehensible to even imagine winning the lottery. I'm sure everyone's tried playing at least once or twice. It's never going to be a good idea to play the lottery, but it's just one of those things where you're sitting in the gas station, you're like, fuck it, I'll let it rip. Let's just see if all the stars have aligned. And I think the best I've ever done, my PB, is maybe 2 numbers that I got correct, which of course is nothing. Like, that's not even enough to get a government agent to spit in a cup and feed it to you. You get nothing for that. To get all of the numbers is just... it has to be one of the most unlikely things you can ever do. And that brings me to today's topic. A story that I've wanted to tell but just haven't yet. I told it on stream last night, so I'll play the clips from it. But I want to break it down because this is a story that defies all of the odds. And it involves a buddy of mine and his girlfriend and her mother. Now, many of you know I'm in a band, The Gentle Men. It is myself and my friend Troy from New Zealand. Troy does all of the music, I do the lyrics and vocals, and Troy also does vocals as well. We're responsible for some of the most iconic boner jams of the 21st century, things like 2019 Guy, which was the first of its kind, a cuck-core anthem, which has never been done before or done since, and then things like Skynut, 2004 Breakup, Your Boyfriend Doesn't Scare Me, most recently Filthy, which actually lost me a brand partnership because the song is such a banger. And point is, Troy is a good friend of mine as part of this music project that we're in, The Gentlemen. Quick side note, since I'm already on the topic, this is a question I've been getting asked a lot, so I'll briefly address it. We are making more songs. In fact, we have a new EP dropping within a month, probably a little less than a month now. So there is more The Gentlemen music on its way. Now, that wasn't relevant to the story at all, so let's get back to the story. Troy has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend's mother plays the lottery every single week. And recently, something miraculous happened. When is it story time? Okay, you know what? I'll tell you a little story. Lie down in your bed, I'll tuck you in, snug as a bug in a rug. So, Troy, the other half of the Gentlemen, our band, his girlfriend has a mother. She plays the lottery every week, and has played the lottery every week for, I think it was 20 years. She plays the same numbers every single week, and has done so for about 2 decades. Now, Troy and his girlfriend are in New Zealand. The mother is also in New Zealand. And for 20 years, she has played the New Zealand lottery with the same numbers. A month ago, those numbers came up. And Troy and his girlfriend lost their fucking mind. They went crazy celebrating. Holy shit, your mom just won millions. I don't know what the jackpot was, but millions. So his girlfriend calls her mom ecstatic, super happy. And it turns out her mom, in one of the very rare times that she does this, did not go get lottery tickets with those numbers because it was raining and she didn't want to make the trip. A legitimate once-in-a-lifetime opportunity missed because of a light drizzle. And Troy and I were talking about it. Troy said to me that he wouldn't be able to live with that guilt if it was him. He'd probably kill himself. And I said, same. I don't know how I would go on living knowing that the luckiest possible thing that could happen to you would have happened to you if you just followed the routine. But her mom took it like such a champ, such a fucking warrior, that she just said, guess it wasn't meant to be. And I believe she went back to playing the same numbers again, and is still currently playing every single week. Same numbers, even though they've already come up and will never come up again. It's like a story out of an anime. There's a little story for you. That's one I haven't told yet. Troy told me that about 3 weeks ago, and I was flabbergasted. I felt so bad. Like, I felt bad for them. The mom's totally fine with it, I guess. But, man, that was crushing just to hear. The real story will be when the numbers come up again and she wins. That'd be the good ending, but I really don't see that happening. Has there ever been a case where the same lottery numbers have come up more than once? Let me see. I'm going to look that up. Here's a crazy story from October. Same New York lottery numbers drawn twice in one day. Yeah, I don't see anything about repeat numbers. Like any data on it. I'm sure it's happened though. It has to have happened at some point. But the likelihood of that is super low. How much would it cost to buy every possible outcome in the lottery? I looked that up. There is data on it. It's an incredibly high number. But the biggest thing actually isn't buying every number. Let's assume you had the wealth for it. Here. The biggest problem is you would have an incredibly difficult time locating the ticket with the winning numbers on it because you'd have so many tickets. The Mega Millions and Powerball lotteries in the US can have jackpots that exceed $1 billion, and each lottery has odds about 1 in 300 million, and each ticket costs $2. Theoretically, you could buy all combinations of numbers for 600 million and guarantee that you will win $1 billion for a profit of 400 million. Wait, but you already know that's not how it works, which they're about to get into. So 600 million to buy every combination. The reason you don't actually profit is because there's tax on it. So if you win $1 billion, you keep, I think, 300 million. So you would have lost 300 mil through this. Mr. Beast did something similar. He bought scratch-offs, but he didn't make money. He lost money. He had some winners, sure, but he still ended up losing more than he won. 70%. I think so. Did I get the math wrong? Let me double check. I'm pretty sure if you win $1 billion, you keep about 330 million. If a winner emerges from Wednesday, they'll have the option to choose between $1 billion spread out across 30 years or a lump sum of 516 million. The lump sum will face the mandatory federal tax withholding of 24%, leaving the winner 392 million. And depending on the winner's taxable income, their winnings could drop to as low as 325 million. So yeah, you'd lose money if you bought every possible combination. 325 million is still good. Hey, she ain't bad, but the reason we're talking about that is because we were looking up how much it would cost to buy every combination, and it's roughly 600 million. So you'd lose money. You'd lose a lot of money. Oh, another great point. Also, more than one person can win, and then you'd have to split it further. So yeah, you would just lose money. A ton. You're so wrong. I am looking at the numbers. What are you talking about? What am I wrong about? What? It's all right here on what you take home on $1 billion win. Let's just assume you get the lump sum, and for some reason they say, you know what? Listen here, Bubba. I'm not taxing that. Uncle Sam said, you keep that 516 million, not subject to tax. You'd still lose $100 million. So if you buy all the combinations here, you would need the jackpot to be well north of $1 billion, because $1 billion wouldn't be enough to cover what you spent.